Hello, friends. Welcome inside, at least for me, Ben Garrett, and just for me right now, the Riverland Roofing Studios, New Albany branch. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297, riverlandroofing.com. That's Brad Logan, and waiting in the wings is one Chris Malloy, whose Ole Miss men's golf team just won an SEC title. So it's time to get Chris Malloy on, even though I think we're like number 867 on the list. I think that's what it was. I'm playing with Chris. He's the best.
He's a man about town. He's a very well-traveled man, and he's one that's very in high demand, and we appreciate him carving out a few minutes.
You're going to have to pull the mic close. You're going to have to yell at it and do something. I can already tell you, buddy. We still haven't figured – he still hasn't figured it out. A grown man can't even get his audio issues fixed yet. I'm just like, this is insane. Try to yell into the mic or something. Show me something good.
We're getting better.
Mary's already in the chat. Fred G's already in the chat saying hey to Mary and also Hottie Toddy. Thank you all for joining us. Again, our thanks to Riverland Roofing. riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297. I write for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, to Fleet of On 3. Join us today. That QR code above Brad's head is for the Ole Miss Spirit. And if you scan it as a new member today, you can try us out for just $1 for 5 days. $1 5 days. That's all you got to do is scan that QR code and join us. The other day, well, not the other day, yesterday, Monday, Pete Golding had this to say during his press conference right after practice, the latest for Ole Miss in spring football.
Awesome. Obviously a great weekend. We had to meet the reps. I thought it was an unbelievable turnout for our fans. I thought our kids did an unbelievable job, stayed late, signed a bunch of autographs for a lot of kids. So really neat experience, not only for the fans, but more importantly for our players. I think they lose the value in that sometimes. So I think it was kind of eye-opening to see that many people on a Saturday morning with double-decker going on and an unbelievable home baseball series with Georgia. And then to close it on Sunday with Malloy and the boys finishing the way they did. Hats off to the golf team, the year that they've been through. And I think everybody kind of counted them out when Michael decided to go to live, and for them to finish the way they did was unbelievable. Awesome. Obviously a great weekend. We had to meet the rep.
Talking about Chris and the boys. That's Chris over that way. Chris Malloy, Ole Miss men's golf coach. Congratulations, coach, on the SEC title. The most man about town of the last handful of days. Thanks for making time for us, Big Shot. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, boys.
So how's it feel, man? You got a little more pep in your step, like what does it feel like to hear Pete give a shout out like he did during his press conference? It seems like everybody's wanting a little bit of this Ole Miss men's golf team for what y'all accomplished.
Hey, we like it, right? If people are talking about us, that means we did something right, and we're going in the right direction. But Pete, he's a dude, man. And one of my best friends, and really enjoy him and enjoy and appreciate his support. Going to caddy for him over at the Regions Pro-Am tomorrow, so he's gonna put me to work. But yeah, it's been fun. Seeing not just him, but a lot of the other coaches, and really rally around us and root us on.
Is he a good golfer?
Yeah, he's better than you think. He really is. He hits it a long way. He's now got he's played this huge slice. He's now got a driver that's got that. He's got it figured out a little bit. So you get him in a competitive environment, he'll figure it out.
No, okay. I was like, so he can handle himself if he needs to, but like when he gets in there with the pros and stuff. So he's a normal dude. One of us, right? One of us.
Correct.
Okay. Good. Actually,
exactly.
Makes it more relatable.
One of us. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, makes it more relatable. So when what's the first thing? I wanted to show a video in a second of like you're walking down the fairway saying don't let the Rebs get hot. What made this run so special? How did it kind of crescendo into this?
Yeah, it's been a journey, and I've said it over and over again. It's been a long semester, but things started clicking a couple of weeks ago. And these guys, they bought in from the start. I mean, so it's not like they just bought in. They've been going, and golf's hard sometimes. Got a little confidence. Started to get a little more confidence. I thought we were really close up in Nashville at Vanderbilt's tournament, and then Mississippi State started to put it together a little bit more, and it just seemed like once we got on property there over in Sea Island for the SEC championship, things just started to fall in place, and that's when I got a funny feeling. Yeah, I just knew it was going to be a special week, and it certainly was.
Coach, first of all, thanks for jumping on with us. Congratulations. I don't think there's anybody any more proud than I was. You're a type person to where, I'll be honest with you, my phone lit up from media members, from administrators, from colleagues, and they were all not only happy for the team, Coach, but they were happy for you. And I think that's a testament to not only the men's golf program, but you as just a person.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. Can you? I don't know if he can hear me, Ben.
Chris, can you hear Brad at all? Because I know he's very, very low.
I cannot hear Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the bump in and bump out thing with StreamYard.
Unfortunately, my Brad, we're going to take him out. I want to know specifically when everything that happens with the live stuff, and you have that kind of a loss. Like, how did you deal with it? Like, what's the first thing that you decide? Like, that's like unprecedented, right? I mean, how did you handle that in and of itself?
Yeah, it was unprecedented. Again, like, he was the first one that's, had to leave mid-year, and it was what it was, and I didn't, people, ask that question a lot there, what'd you think, or what, how'd you don't really have much of a choice, I mean, play the hand that you're dealt, and figure it out. I mean, those that know me, I'm not going to worry a whole lot about what I can't control there, and I'm not going to sit there and dwell on, what went wrong. I'm going to find a way to, get our guys, together and kick you in the teeth.
When did you know that this was a special group? I mean, was it pretty early on? At the end of the day, yes, it's about talent. I mean, it's about the guys that can go out there and get it done. But like, when did you know all of this talent in an era where, man, talent can do whatever it wants to at any time, to come together in such a short order and be so good and win a title?
Yeah, I actually think going back to the fall, because, Mike had, Walker Cup, a couple PGA Tour events, things of that nature that he missed. He missed a couple of our events, so we were without him anyway. So we actually got a sneak peek of what this team could be without him, and they were pretty good, and we were really good right out of the gates at Tennessee. We struggled on, the last 9 holes at the Hamptons, but, besides that, we were really pretty darn good, at that time, and we're competing. So, we got a sneak peek into it. I knew that, we would, certainly you don't want to lose a guy like Mike, man. But at the end of the day, I thought we still had a chance.
I got one more question about the live stuff, since it's like all in the news right now. What do you make of it? Kind of like cancellations and what it looks like from a long-term perspective, just as a golf guy? Because I don't get as much as I would like to, Chris. I'm like kind of just throwing all my golf nerddom your way as well. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I don't, I don't know any more than you guys know. And, it looks like, potentially, may dissolve after this year. But a guy like Mike, it's he never had PGA Tour status, so he's not going to be penalized, so he can make a lot of money through this year and be okay, and have a fresh crack at it, whatever that landscape looks like, come after this season. So it does look like it's crumbling just a little bit, unfortunately.
I've got to be remiss if I didn't bring this up as Brad continues as a grown man to fight through audio issues here on Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett. That's Chris Malloy. His Ole Miss men's golf Rebels just won an SEC title. All right, so Lane gets on Twitter and does what Lane does. You kind of like respond back a little bit. What was your relationship like with him, and what's it like, and what's different under Pete? Because it's been cool to watch the difference in support. I'm not saying good or bad or indifferent, just there's a difference.
Yeah, and I've known Lane forever. I knew Lane before he came to Ole Miss. That's and that's a story in itself. So Lane's
wait, how'd you know him beforehand? I didn't know this.
Yeah, his former brother-in-law was on the football staff at University of South Florida when I was down there, and so I knew them from. They would take, they go to, Monty's, their beach house they had down in St. Pete. That's where they always did their, family vacations, and got to know them there. And, was friendly with them. And so I've known Lane a long time. And Lane's Lane, and love him, hate him, anything indifferent. I don't think there's a whole lot of indifferent. I think it's either love, hate, but he's been supportive, me, my family, all that stuff, but again, we have our ups and downs in our relationships, and that's I'm never gonna stop, kind of poking fun at him, and him probably poking fun at me, but I'll give him credit after this championship. He was one of the first texts that I got, not on Twitter, not on whatever. So, he actually sent a nice text there. And, but Lane is what he is.
Yeah. I just got one more question. Who would win in a golf match? All right. You got a par 3. It's like the best 3 holes. Whoever takes the best of the 3, Peter Lane, who's going to win that golf? Who's going to win?
It's not even clear. Pete. Yeah. Lane. He kind of comes and goes, tries to get in and out of golf or whatever. That's not close. Pete, Pete all day.
See, I knew Chris would be fair and neutral about that. Thank you, Chris, for that. All right, Brad, back to you. Have you figured out your audio issues yet?
Coach, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you now. Welcome.
Thank goodness. I've got all kind of questions for you. First of all, kind of want to reiterate what I said before. When you guys won the championship, and it really felt like the things were going in your favor, and the announcers were even like, they started off kind of, well, Florida's not putting it real well today. Then they were like, wait a minute, Ole Miss is on fire today. And so it was really cool. My phone started dinging from administrators, not only from Ole Miss, from other places, from people in the media, fans, and they were, sure, we're happy for Ole Miss, but we're really happy for Chris Malloy. And I thought that was really cool. And I think that's a testament to you, not only as a coach, but as a person. You go to all these Ole Miss events, women's golf, football, baseball, softball, and I think it's really cool getting to see you to have your flowers. So congratulations on that. I want to kind of go back to Sunday, and midway through the round, I kind of caught you talking to some of the players, and I'm just curious, had some uneasiness kind of set in, because if you'll remember, not long ago at Mississippi State, you guys had a huge lead, and then you kind of let that go, and you kind of fought your way back. Had kind of that creeped in, and what was kind of your conversation midway through the round when things were going really well?
Yeah, not an ounce. And we did have that at Mississippi State, and they were able to overcome that. They didn't let the wheels fall off. I mean, they did for a minute, but they were able to regroup and come back and finish strong. And again, I think that just only helped us for Sea Island, but no, there was none of that. There was never doubt. It's kind of what I commented earlier today. It was one of the coolest things, just never to see those guys blink in the toughest moments, right when they got hit in the face, which is going to happen, right? It happens to everybody. You're on the golf course for a long time. A round of golf is a long time. And whether that's you having a 3-putt or an unforced error, or whether that's your opponent doing something, special to, try to get a little momentum, man, they never blinked. So no, there was nothing. We had a game plan from the start that was to be aggressive, that was to be confident, that was to be loose, and that was it. We never got outside of that game plan, and it certainly worked out.
It was a huge day for Tom Fisher. Won the match play 4 and 5, and was really big for you guys. I would be curious in the locker room. There was a lot of talk, obviously, with Lasasso headed off to live. And this is not, I'm going to tell you, you don't already know, this was not a team to where the Southeastern Conference was like, yeah, watch out for Ole Miss. Was there a little bit of chip on your shoulder heading into the season and into the conference championship to, hey, we've got some things to prove?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more than just a little chip on our shoulder. That's what we rallied around. I mean, you have to rally around something, right? And, all I told the guys was, yeah, it's us against the world, mentality. But, that they're good is good enough. And that the guys that we had in that locker room were good enough. And, I wasn't saying that to make them feel better. I truly felt that way, and they truly felt that way. I mean, they didn't blink, man. There was just so much outside noise that we didn't hear. We didn't listen. We didn't want to listen. We didn't care. We didn't care what other people thought of us. We weren't going to let them write our story. And ultimately, This was the first step. We're not done yet. We have a big tournament up in front of us, and that's going to be a huge challenge. But for this week, they got to write that first big chapter.
Yeah, for those that might not know about the NCAA tournament in particular, that selection process and how that all kind of falls for you, what are your expectations, if any, and where do you see Ole Miss kind of falling in that bracket, however it might fall out?
Yeah, our expectation is to win it all. I mean, it's never any different. It's not. We're going to go into regionals, and the top 5 from each regional, advance to finals, and just like this past week, where the top 8 get into match play. If your goal is to get in the top 8, man, you're probably going to finish 9th, and you're going to be right on the outside looking in. If your goal is to finish first, like it is every tournament, we've never gone into a tournament this entire year going, okay, well, let's just finish in the top 5. That's not a thing. So why would we start at regionals? Why would we start at SEC championships? Say we'll just get in the final 8. Let's try to win the dang thing, and I like our chances if we're competing at the top there, and still have that aggressive mindset, which we always will have. Then usually the chips fall in your favor, more so than not. So yeah, it's going to be to go win regionals, and if we don't win, finish in the top 5 and get out there and then start all over again. And it's going to be to win the stroke play portion of the national championship. And if not, at worst, finish 8th like we did last year and survive in advance.
Coach, I was very impressed by a number of different golfers, none more than Colin Strolio. He kind of fell back early, and then he birdied, I think, 7 through 10 to go up by, a couple of strokes. Obviously, really good golfer. What's he like when he's not on the golf course? Because he was really dialed in on Sunday and played a heck of a round of golf.
Probably the opposite, probably not dialed in, probably really goofy. Honestly, a lot like I was and a lot like me. I mean, it's just he's really a spark plug on our team. He's funny. Again, he's not. Yeah, I like to have a good golf nerd on the team. He's not that. I mean, he's the exact opposite. He likes to have a good time. So to be able to rein him in and watch what he did when it came down to him, right? And the spotlight was on. He's, facing the number 1 amateur in the world, top 50 player in the world, according to the rankings, including every professional that Jackson Coyven is. I mean, he's a generational talent, and that didn't really matter on Saturday. Like Colin Strolio didn't care who he was, didn't care who was teeing it up beside him. He came to play, and it was just so cool to see that guy in that moment. It was like he was built for that exact challenge.
Coach, to follow up on that, I tell you what may have been the coolest thing of the weekend, notwithstanding the SEC championship, was the win over number 1 ranked Cameron Tankersley out of Auburn. From a coaching standpoint, how rewarding is that to see your player beat the number 1 player in the country, or in this case, the number 1 player for Auburn?
Yeah, and again, it's a guy that wasn't necessarily designed to be in our lineup. He fought there, and he got a good opportunity when stuff happened with Mike. So it's amazing, and you never know how that's going to go. And I refuse to think anything different. I knew he had it in him. He wouldn't be here on my team if I didn't think he had it in him. We would never recruited him. So, we think the world of him. But to be able to put it together, and again, as I mentioned, he didn't blink. I mean it, guys. It didn't matter who was across the tee box from him. He was going to beat him, and he did it. He did it 3 times in a row.
Coach, I want to ask you, you've been asked 1,000 times about, the first championship since '84, and I get all that. Obviously, it's important, and I'm sure it means the world to you. What I would like to ask you is it kind of like, not that you had a monkey on your back, but whatever's on your back is gone. Now you've got the championship. Now you move forward. How much of a building block, moving forward could it be having a championship now? We've got that kind of out of the way. Let's build our blocks and let's see how far we can go.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to view it as a positive, certainly. And it goes back to things that probably don't matter. Um, but when I took this job, you throw out so many things, right? You say what you're going to do, you say what your goals are, and certainly an SEC championship is a part of that. A national championship, team and individual is a part of that. And so to be able to do that and check that box, I just think it's more validation than anything else. But um, yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it makes it any easier or worse. I mean, it doesn't change our mindset, man. We're gonna, we went back to practice today, and we're gonna have the same conversations and same mindset, same challenges with our team as we did a week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks ago. But it certainly is nice. I'd be lying if I said that it didn't make you feel just a little bit better.
I know you've got other fish to fry. You've got regionals coming up, and we wish you all the best. But as a as a former player, it had to have been awesome, if it's just for a little bit, to look back and to say, hey, we just won the SEC championship. How much did it mean to you personally, and how much did it mean to you to be able to do that as head coach at Ole Miss?
Yeah, no words. You don't have enough time for me to go over it. I mean, it means that much. And for here, I mentioned it, I think earlier today or yesterday that it's special. I mean, no matter where you are, if I went to, South Dakota State, to win a school that I had no connection to win a championship, would mean a great deal and be awesome and all of that. But to do it here, a place that I love, with a group that I love, with people that I love, in a place that I do call home. I'm from Virginia originally, but man, Oxford, Mississippi's home, and to come back and get to hug the people that I love. I mean, to get to hug Keith Carter. Keith, lived across the hall from me in college, and he was one of the first people I saw when I got off that plane the other day, and that's the emotional side of it, certainly. So it makes it so much more special, but yeah, it's just a dream come true. And again, we still have some, boxes to check. We're not done yet. And whether that be this year or next year, 10 years from now, whatever it is, we're going to do that. We're going to check all the boxes, and hopefully we get to check those boxes about 3 or 4 more times.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Chris. I want to say this before we get going. Who's better in their prime, Chris the golfer or Keith Carter the basketball hooper?
Keith Carter, the basketball hooper. And
Dude,
made it from everywhere. My God.
He did though.
It was so fun, getting to watch him and again, those guys, my Johnny Rogers was my teammate, or excuse me, my roommate, and our suite mates shared a bathroom with Ansu Cisse and Chris Oni.
Dude,
those are my guys, man. So it was all my best friends, going to watch them and watch the things that Keith did and all of them, man. It was awesome. It was like one family. So again, coming full circle, just pretty badass.
See, that's what I was about to say. I don't know who needs to hear this, of the thousands of people who might be watching, and thanks you, Chris, for coming on. He just dropped the Ansu Cisse. That's a deep cut. And folks, if anybody out there has an Ansu Cisse Seattle Supersonics jersey, Ben Garrett's looking for it, because he's still my favorite basketball player of all time. But Keith is up there too. And the first sports team to ever make me cry, Chris, the Valpo game, Keith and them. Still don't know why he was guarding the baseline. I'm just saying. Still don't know.
I cried. Yeah, I cried too. I was on spring break. I can tell you exactly where I was. The room that was a TV. Oh, the bad deal. So hey, that's what I'm saying. Hey, weeks like this, I'm doing it to overcome those memories. We're just so wrapped up in it that it's this has been a special ride, and we're not done.
No, like there's nothing worse than like crying ugly in front of your friend, a 10-year-old in front of your friends and your dad. He's like, dude, okay, it's bad, but like chill, But
correct,
no, man, you don't know Bryce Drew, the bastard. He's Chris Malloy. Congratulations, man. Thanks so much for coming on. We hope to have you on again, brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Hotty toddy.
That's Chris Malloy, Ole Miss golf coach. Congratulations to them for winning an SEC title. How awesome was that, man? I mean, he's the best, dude, just the absolute best. And Brad, I can barely hear you. I hope you're doing well. How are you over there?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to talk as loud as I can into this microphone. We're working on it, Ben. We're working on it.
What has happened to your mic?
I don't know. It's got to be some type of software issue because I'm showing I've got a pretty good little, volume on my end, but we're working on it. I promise.
Well, maybe you just need a new mic. Maybe that's just it. Things
maybe
fried.
Maybe my podcast, Rode podcaster that I spent a fortune on. Hey, maybe it's not what I should have gotten. Boy, how great was Chris? Such a good dude, and really cool getting a chance to visit with him, and appreciate him jumping on. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's got to be your mic. I don't know what's going on. It sounds sad, and I feel like I blow everyone's eardrums out whenever I'm talking, and then you have to come in. So as we understand that this evening, first of all, thanks all of you for joining us for Talk of Champions, our typical Tuesday evening show. I don't know how we're going to fix the audio problems. I have an idea. I don't think you're going to like it.
I've got a quick idea. Give me 30 seconds. Take me off the air.
He said to give him 30. Well, before we do that, let's hear from some of our sponsors because Chris was great. And we didn't really get to show you Riverland Roofing, B&A Bank. You pick it. Let's hear from some of our sponsors as Brad tries to figure out the old man that he is, how to operate a podcast. This is Talk of Champions.
Homes and businesses from the whims of nature. You need more than just quality materials. You require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hey, Rebels, your truck is here. Ellen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford presents the all-new Ram Rebel. It's Ram, the Rebel way. Send an unmistakable signal. Rebel 24/7. Ram Rebel from your friend in the car business. Ellen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford.
Come by, let's be friends. I'm Warrior Philip Hearn. Raising my family here in Mississippi, I've tried to teach my kids to help others. I learned that from my parents. And as a Mississippi lawyer, I want to help you too. If you're hurt in a traffic accident, 18-wheeler wreck, or have insurance trouble, call 601-720-3541. That's my cell. You call, I'll answer. Let's get started. Make your first call to the Hearn Law Firm today.
Start my weekend.
Own your day on the Network for Connected Living. There's more to see. C-Spire. Customer inspired.
Here we go. Hey, Brad. Unmute you. Come on, unmute.
Mic check 1 2. It's not better. It's a new mic.
I don't know.
Mic
Whatever's
check,
happening.
1 2 3.
That's better, I suppose.
Maybe it's the cord. I bet it's the cord. Is that better?
I mean, it's marginally better, I suppose. How are you? What's the score of the baseball? I'm going to pull that up and kind of break things down. Where are things in the
Supposedly it's
Governor's
been
Cup?
looking like RBI baseball. Like they've been really short and small and everything else. So
Oh, that's no fun. So the broadcast is terrible.
yeah, but I think it's better.
Oh, Ole Miss is down 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Ole Miss has lost 2 straight after coming from behind an 8-0 deficit to take the first game against number 5 Georgia. Had its opportunities in the last 2 of that series to take one or both of them. So they come out with a series loss. The biggest thing as far as hosting is not to get swept the rest of the way. How important is it as Mississippi State has men on the corners with 2 outs and up 1-0 on Owen Kelly, number 17 Ole Miss in the Governor's Cup in Pearl. How important is the Governor's Cup period for Ole Miss's hosting and all that stuff?
I think it is important specifically for Ole Miss because State swept Ole Miss. I think just from an emotional standpoint, you would like to try to win the game. And although it's not a conference game, I do know that people have said that on Selection Monday, this game is viewed as not a conference game, but a lot more important than a original non-conference game. So obviously there's going to be some importance to it. So I do think it's important. I think the bigger issue is what happened on Saturday night when Ole Miss had 3 or 4 opportunities with runners in scoring position to beat Georgia in Game 2, and they just couldn't do it. I mean, and I think Chuck Rounsell said it on the Ole Miss Spirit. That's in the field of on 3. That's omspirit.com. Just hit that QR code right on the screen. And Chuck said it perfectly. Everybody knew once they couldn't get in, and Becerra went 0 for 12, and he was the last guy to bat, and that's when everybody kind of said there's no way they're going to put it together and win on Sunday, and they didn't. I thought they pitched it very, very well. Hunter Elliott struggled, obviously. If I would have told you that Hunter Elliott gives up 8 runs and Ole Miss and Udemark and insert all these issues here, and they end up winning the game 10-8. I mean, nobody would have believed me. So, boy, you're really glad they won that first game, and now the score's 2-0 Mississippi State. So, runners on first and second, and the bottom of the first inning. So, not starting out well for Ole Miss in Pearl. So, but yeah, I mean, they had an opportunity to win 2 out of 3 with a chance to sweep, but they didn't. You have to count back. I know you have said 15. I'm really 16 to host. I really don't think 15 will be enough, and I know there's been others that have said that, and I understand that, and but I really think they need to get to 16.
I think I'm right there with you now. I'm not a big believer in the 15 theory anymore, even though it came from a story that I wrote. People seem to be reading a lot of those stories. I hope y'all are some of those at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, and affiliate of On 3. Don't copy and paste and take them somewhere else. Just simply read them and give us your business. We'd love to have you. One day or $1 gives you 5 days for free with that QR code on your screen. Scan it today and take advantage of that deal. We just got done with the deal where you could have gotten 50% off as a new member of an annual subscription. But right now, it's 5 days for $1 to try us out at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, and affiliate of On 3. Ole Miss baseball with this game here tonight, the main thing is winning, ideally winning from here on out, but like this would be a quad 1 win for them. I can't remember their quad 1 record off the top of my head, but the RPI is going to be there. You just got to win your fair share. But Baseball America's Jacob Rudner at the Ole Miss Spirit had I wrote a story about some of the stuff he said. He mentioned the magic number being 15 and referenced like 2024 Florida and even some teams in the early 2000s. But here's the deal. It's like if you're Ole Miss, you would prefer to be comfortable going into the SEC tournament, right? And I think 16 would then be that number, or even 17. But that makes the math the rest of the way, especially if you lose here to Mississippi State, that much tougher. But it's very early. It's the first inning. Get out of it. You got an offense that can score runs. But I don't know, man. State has absolutely owned Ole Miss for God knows how long.
Well,
do you know the record?
Mike has really struggled with Mississippi State. Ole Miss won the Governor's Cup last year, so they did get Mississippi State. State won 2 out of 3 last year in the regular season. Of course, they sweep this year. So yeah, I mean the Bulldogs have had Ole Miss's number. The good news for Ole Miss is I want to go back to PI, and it's to me is what's so important. This is a quad 1 opportunity tonight. We all know that.
But bases are now loaded.
Yeah, it's
hit
rough.
by pitch.
But they've got 2 outs, so maybe they can get out of it. Ole Miss is 12th right now in the RPI, 21-4 in their non-conference record, which is really good. I think what's good for Ole Miss too is, let's see, 16-0. No, what are they? My thing's not loading right. They're undefeated in quad 4 games and quad 3 games. So there's no landmines on the record. I think last I checked they had 10 or 11 quad 1 wins. So that is a big component for Ole Miss, and so they need to try to get out of this one here as they sit at. God, there's so many pop-ups. 12 on the RPI, and a big opportunity tonight against Mississippi State. But look, Mississippi State's really good. I mean, we saw them beat not a very good LSU team. But the thing is I mean, there were situations where Mississippi State did not play well this past weekend. I mean, they were down multiple runs in multiple games, and they fought back. They did not allow Mississippi LSU to really get things going late in the game. As now it's 4-0. So runs on second and third, and that's tough. And you just got to try to battle back through it. But that's kind of what you get. I mean, when you get Tuesday night, you're going to get midweek pitching. Hey, the good news, Ole Miss hasn't even batted yet, and they're going to get Mississippi State's midweek pitching. So you would hope that Ole Miss can
Well, they have batted. Look, this is the bottom of the first. They have batted.
Oh, my bad. They did. So they did not get anything in the top of the first. Apologies. I thought it said the
it's all right.
The top of the first. So
if it holds,
got to get going.
If it holds, Mississippi State has won 26 of the last 36, so it'd be 27 of 37.
Yeah, I know it's been close.
26 of the last 36. Oh.
So apparently the stream is not great, but I think they have fixed it. I don't understand why they have so many problems at Trustmark Park in Pearl.
Why are we still playing this game?
Well, not only this game, I don't understand why they play other teams down there. I guess it's Southern Miss. Yeah, thanks, Dakota, it is fixed.
They're out of the inning now, so that's good. I met Dakota at Meet the Rebels. It was awesome to meet you, man. I mean, he came and said to Dakota, and I said, I know exactly who you are. Like, I knew that immediately. Apparently a heck of a catch that was made.
So now the Rebels, Ben, will go on the road this weekend, and it's against an Arkansas team that's really been kind of struggling. They've kind of been up and down. You'd love to get 2 in Fayetteville. I know that's a lot to ask for, but once again, if the magic number is 16, I think if my math is right, and I know we don't like the math on the show, but they need 5 out of the next 9, right?
Sounds about right, yeah.
So what's it take? Tristan Becerra, in shallow rights, that saved at least 2 more runs. So they need 5 of the next 6.
5 of the next 6. We'll see if they can pull it out. They're right now down 4-0 at the end of the first inning. Ole Miss basketball has picked up some commitments in the transfer portal. There you see them from On3, the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate of On3. Commitments from Stefan Cisic. And another transfer, Dazer Haskins from St. John's. What do you make of the portal activity? The stats for Stefan don't really jump off the page, to be honest with you. Same kind of deal with Christian Brown from James Madison. Dazer Haskins does some things that are appealing for sure. He's got some real upside potentially, but while it's been a slow go of it in the NCAA transfer portal, you're actually starting to see the roster be filled out. I don't know what to make of it yet, but I don't see where Ole Miss is markedly better, but that's me.
I'm going to err on the side of Coach Yo yesterday, and I think she said something that kind of resonated with me. And Jake Thompson, I give Jake a lot of credit because he said something that I think makes a lot of sense. Coach Yo's portal haul does not include a lot of pomp and circumstance, scoring, rebounding off the page. He said that he thinks there's some truth in the middle with, number one, she's kind of covering for the players that she's had, but number two, there's truth to the fact that she made the point that you can't necessarily look at what these players have current teams because the system they're coming in may be different than the system that they're in. So you're kind of hedging your bet a little bit whenever you're bringing them on. I think there's some gamesmanship there, but I want to give Chris Beard the benefit of the doubt and say that may be the case here because the players that we see on paper are not jumping off the page, man, and they're not moving the needle from a star standpoint. But what we may see is that Chris Beard is seeing something that we don't see because he's a much better basketball mind than I am. And maybe that fits the Ole Miss system much better than where the players were coming from. So I'm going to lean on that a little bit because, right now I don't know that there's a ton of excitement with men's basketball with the players that are coming in. That's not to say that they're not going to work out. That's not to say that there weren't great decisions by Chris Beard. There were not great evaluations by Chris Beard. We'll see. But right now, we're just not really sure.
Like Drake said, bench players talking like starters, I hate it. Except this way, it's like bench players getting paid like starters. I don't hate it, but I don't really see how they're better than 15 and 20. You're going to need some Herculean effort, in my opinion, efforts, plural. Patton Pinkins, Elias Carmerdine, I hope you're ready to elevate because you're going to have to. Nothing about this list or this haul so far is particularly inspiring, and there's still some questions about whether they've even taken Indy Okafor's commitment. I think they have, but that was still a question mark. I was told at Meet the Rebels by multiple people, patience will be needed as they put this roster together. They're being methodical, all those things. Well, what other choice do they have is my response to that directly. But also, if the results are going to be such as this, not saying they're underwhelming, I'm just simply saying I don't see where they've gotten particularly better. I don't see a star transfer here. Maybe it's Roman Sipula. Maybe it's Adam Clark. I don't know. Or maybe the NIL era after an NCAA tournament, lack of an appearance, and the money not really moving up. You'd hope that you could capitalize on the Sweet 16, go even further, get even more money pouring in. Instead, you're going the other way. And the results are players that you have to say, well, wait till they get in this system, rather than look who you put together in short order because you had to fill out a lot of spots, but you had the money to do so. It's not particularly inspiring, Brad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it felt like last year's offseason had a lot more excitement. And, I don't know really why that is, but I think in large part we felt like, I think I'm speaking for a lot of Ole Miss fans, that they felt like Travis Perry would be a much more impact player. They felt like Malik Dia coming back would be a much bigger component offensively and defensively, and he was non-existent defensively. I think we felt like James Scott would be a better offensive player. He really wasn't, and he didn't do anything until the SEC tournament. All those players are gone, and I think Patton Pinkins is a really good player, and coming back, I think Elias Carmerdine coming back is huge. Great question, Tripp. Has Zach posted anything about Tyleik Weeks? Because he is not committed. Memphis was very confident, Ben, that they were going to get a commitment last week from him, and they did not. So I felt that was pretty good news for Ole Miss. Is Ole Miss still fighting for Weeks?
Oh, yeah, it's either Ole Miss or Memphis right now, best I can tell. So I fully expect him to commit to, like, St. Mary's tomorrow because that's how the portal works. But last I heard, it's between those two, and I think in that respect, it's only encouraging then that he hasn't committed to Memphis yet. If you're looking to cling to some type of hope if you're Ole Miss. So that can only be construed as a positive thing. At the end of the day, Ole Miss had him on for a visit. He got off campus without committing to you. And even with the deliberation and things like that, like you need a guy like here's the thing. And Tyleik would be far and away the biggest addition for them. And while a good one, a great one, certainly not nearly enough, especially if you compare it to a class last year that everyone said that would listen, be it in or around the TUI Center, was a second weekend team in the NCAA tournament. They weren't. Does this look like a second weekend in the NCAA tournament team? And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's like, well, yeah, but we got a better way of doing it now.
That's what I'm giving Chris the benefit of the doubt.
Which, by all means, but like Chris is a big boy. He'll talk about it honestly. He had the 9th highest coaching salary in all of college basketball last year, and maybe saying, well, with limited NIL in comparison to the rest of the SEC, I got to go about it in a more analytic way. Well, let me get Stephen Cisick in here to do this, and then I got Dazer Haskins to do that, and Christian Brown can be a defensive stopper, maybe a 3-and-D no offense kind of guy. I don't know, but it's hard to see the vision, and it's hard to buy into that optimism, especially when he's still got 2 assistant coaches spots left open. And he doesn't want to talk about it, which is fine. But like when you're not talking about it and these are the results, it makes you wonder, like, what's the plan? This is Talk of Champions. I've been Garrett at Spirit Been on Twitter. He's Brad Logan at Brad Logan COTE. We both cover Ole Miss for the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. I'm the editor. He's a contributor. He's the man. That QR code above my man Brad's head is for new members to scan and sign up. $1 for 5 days for just a full access 5-day tryout at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. Some big news last night reported at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. Carius Kern, at least from a legal side of things, has effectively got the arrest behind him. Now, if any further action or penalty or whatever it might be is to come, it'll be inside the program. Maybe that, like Pete says, well, you're running stairs for the next 4 months. Maybe Pete says, I don't know. I don't want to presume to know. But as far as the legal side, he pled no contest to all the stuff. The reckless driving, fleeing, pot or THC possession, all that kind of stuff. By pleading no contest, the prosecuting attorneys dropped all the drug stuff, and he paid fines in excess of $2,000 for the speeding, the reckless driving stuff. So from a legal standpoint, it's over rather quickly. Justice served quickly in West Memphis, Arkansas, around here about there. Brad, what do you make of the news?
Yesterday we heard from Pete Golding, and I think he commented specifically about, Carius Kern by saying it's a legal matter, and that was it. But indirectly, he said a lot. And one thing that he said I thought was really interesting. He said, hey, guys, whenever he was asked about being a team player and that sort of thing, not Carius Kern, but just players in general. And he talked about, hey, I make mistakes. I made mistakes. Everybody in this room has made mistakes, and that's just kind of where it is. I expect him to come back on this roster. I expect a component of this team, but the rope that was that long is now probably long. I think it a lot. We said that after the press conference on the Talk of Champions following the press conference yesterday. So I think if you look at Carius Kern now, I think it's got a little of the, hey, we get it. You made a mistake, but it's time to get your head screwed on right. It's time to come in here. If you want to compete, you want to be a part of this team, it's time to get with it. And I think there's probably going to be a lot of heart-to-hearts in regards to that room. And that's a room that John Garrison has had some issues. I mean, that tackle position is one that everyone kind of has circled. I mean, when you lose a Diego Pounds and Jaden Williams, both really quality tackles, because they took care of Trinidad Chambliss, man. They did not allow many sacks, and they were really good for Ole Miss. They had their ups and downs, but by the end of the year, by their final year at Ole Miss, they were really good. And so those are positions that we don't have any solidified candidates to be starters at right tackle and left tackle. We did hear yesterday Maldonado made specific reference to Terez Davis. He did. He talked about how good he's been. He did not talk specifically about anybody else because that's who he's mainly been lined up against. I asked him who are some players that have kind of flashed a little bit, and that was one. So as we look at the score, 4-0, Ole Miss has a runner on first.
Third.
Oh, now run on third. Yeah, you're always ahead with Game Changer. I'm looking at the app here. So at the end of the day, that's where it's at. I think tackle is going to be a huge component, but here we are, and Kern's got to get it figured out. Kern's got to get straight, and I think if he does, he'll be a huge component of this offense.
Well, that perfectly leads into what I wanted to close out the podcast with, because this is the last week for Ole Miss football in spring practice. The last practice is Thursday, the second of two simulated game week-like practice formats. And then Friday is finals. They break. There's going to be a May reset to kind of let them decompress and stuff. Then they'll be back for the summer. I want to grade what we know so far, assuming that today, when we talk to the specialist, Lucas Quinero and also Oscar Berger, if that was the last media opportunity, I don't know if it is or not. Might be something that surprises us tomorrow or the next day. Let's grade out each position group from what we know from a full month plus of practices. I'll start, and we'll just hand out a grade. We'll go position by position, not both of us giving out grades. I'll grade the offensive line. Then next will be the pass catchers, the wide receiver and tight ends. Brad will provide that grade. Then we'll go to the running backs. I'll provide that grade, and then Brad can provide the quarterback grade, and so on and so forth. The offensive line, I'm giving a hard C- to, mainly because of the offensive tackles, but also because Bryson Sanders hasn't been there because he's been limited with injury. He's going to be fine. The interior of the offensive line is taken care of with Delano Townsend and Patrick Kudus. I think Troy Everett's going to be a nice veteran, versatile move piece, but they don't have enough bodies. There's a lot more injuries out there. Nicked up guys were Connor Howells and John Wayne Oliver. So there's some things they've got to get right as far as health, on top of underperformance and guys like Carius Kern getting his head out of his butt. But at least the legal side of it is done. If Carius Kern can get his head screwed on right and be a competent right tackle, what it would mean for Ole Miss to be able to lean on Terez Davis and or Tommy Kinsler at left tackle. Tommy Kinsler's got to be a little bit better, more have more of a dog mentality physically, got to get a little more physically tough. So that group, I think, is a work in progress. C- is probably a little rough. I'd give them a strong C, but the tackles are really where the main concern is. The biggest question mark on this team by far. So the pass catchers for you, Brad, the wide receivers and tight end, post-spring grade of what?
I'm going to have to go with a B because we just don't know how this team's going to respond to the loss of Deshaun Stribling. But what we do know is who they have coming back. We had a chance to visit with – was it Jonte Cook? I mean, I think that's who I was so impressed with. And hearing from him and obviously the relationship he has with Darryl Gill, and I think just hearing his relationship and how well it's been going with Trinidad Chambliss, I'm going to say a solid B. We haven't heard from Deuce Alexander this spring, but I'm really impressed with him. I think he's going to be great. The question marks I have are Horatio Fields and Caleb Cunningham. How are those players going to be able to be featured against Louisville in a couple of months in Nashville? And then you'll say his name, Dylan Alfred.
Well said. Right?
Mm-hmm. I did it right. Dylan Alfred. The problem with Dylan Alfred being is, while I've been worried about saying his name, we have not heard that inside the Manning Center. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that's the name we haven't heard very much. I'd love to know how he's doing. I'd love to know how Traylon Ray's doing. Haven't heard much out of him. Isaiah Spencer. Caleb Cunningham, obviously the redshirt, or a true redshirt sophomore. And so those are names that we haven't heard a ton of, but we have heard a lot about Jonte Cook and Darryl Gill and the Deuce Alexander. We've seen a lot of video from the Ole Miss Media Relations Department. So those are names that have been popping so far. And not even – I'm going to throw that in with the tight ends. I'm going to give an A to the tight ends because I think that's going to be a huge room for Ole Miss because when you've got players – I'm giving them an A because I think Luke Haas is going to be really, really good for Ole Miss. I think Brady Prescorn is going to jump, and then Caleb Odom, I think, is going to be one of the best tight ends in the conference. So
A is high, man.
Yep, I love Caleb Odom a lot. I think he's going to be – he may get a little shine after being a tight end, but he's more of a slot receiver to me. So we'll see how that goes. I think Michael Smith – maybe someone that transferred in.
Right, but he's been hurt, so, like, you got to give him a B+. There are question marks.
Yeah.
Luke Haas has to prove that he's healthy. He had 4 catches for 28 yards last year.
Everything that I've been told is Luke Haas is ready to go. And I know he's played injured at Arkansas and at Ole Miss, but I really think he's going to be a huge component of the team this year. And I think Brady Prescorn everybody I've talked to has said he's looked really good too. So I really like the tight end room. I mean, yeah, you could talk to a B, but at the end of the day, I feel really good about the tight end room.
Running backs, because Dakota King, our guy, asked about the running backs, Keywan Lacey specifically. Any updates on Keywan? Saw he was still in a no-contact jersey. That's by design. You don't really need him to be in any kind of contact jersey in the spring. You know exactly what you got with him, and you want to see those new guys anyway. So banged up, the shoulder and all that kind of stuff, letting him heal. Want him to go through practice, but there was never any intention of him hitting much, if at all, at any point this spring. So I wouldn't read much into that. He's going to be perfectly fine come the fall. I think something that's interesting is considering what my guy Chuck Brownsville at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, Fit103, wrote about those running backs. Some spring intel from people inside the building and around the building that he's hearing it from. As far as number 2 running back, it's I think it was Mekhi Frazier was number 2. Yeah.
Yep.
Joshua Dye.
We visit with him, and Joshua Dye running 3rd. Dye transfer, Mekhi Frazier. I think
JT Lindsey 3rd.
Well, I think they're all going to get carries. And I need to see Kewan Lacey to make sure he's fully healthy from that shoulder injury.
Well, he gets that group gets an A- because it's looked exactly like you needed it to this spring. What about the quarterbacks for you? Quick grade.
B. And here's why. Here's why.
Because you don't know who the backup quarterback is.
We don't know. And Pete's not tipping his hand. There's been mixed reviews about Deuce Knight, if he needs to improve his passing. So that's kind of where it is. If he came out and said, hey, Deuce Knight's our number 2, but I asked him about Deuce Knight, it was last week, I think, and he said, he's really good on 1+1s, and he's really good when he's outside the pocket. And from the very limit, we had 7.5 minutes the last practice availability, but I did spend it mostly watching Deuce Knight throw. And he looked, he threw it pretty good. He was throwing to managers, I know, before anybody blasts me, I know. But he was rolling out, and he was hitting his targets really well, and he was spinning it pretty good. And he looks bigger. It looks like he's been in the weight room. It looks like he's on that training table. And so he looks, much, much bigger. And I think that's good from a durability standpoint. But, yeah, I mean, you got to stay with a B because we don't know. I mean, we don't know. He didn't say about Walker Howard. We saw Walker at Double Decker, and, man, he loves Oxford. Walker's a coach on the field. And so, having Walker in that quarterback room is going to be great. But, yeah, I think it's Deuce Knight's number 2. I just don't think Pete's tipping his hand for whatever reason. If he's not doing it because he's not tipping his hand and Deuce Knight's way behind, I'd be surprised, but maybe that's it too. So we'll just have to see.
If anybody's going to bust your case about anything, it's going to be because no one can hear you anymore because something's like going on with your mic. One of these days, he's going to figure it out. But until that time,
I think it may be the cord. I've ordered a new cord.
We'll see. I'm going to go the whole defensive line. I'm going to give that a good B. The reason it's only a B is because I'd ready to see Jordan Renaud more from Jaheim Otis, who has to prove it to me. Last year was not good for Jaheim Otis in Colorado, man. He has not been that his best year in college was his freshman year. So it's a prove it year for Jaheim Otis. Blake Purchase is exciting, as is Jonathan Maldonado. Jonathan Maldonado, I was kind of proud of that comp I made to Tavius Robinson. He reminds me of him. He really does, and what an incredibly valuable piece that could be, considering that Tavius was really good for Ole Miss, but also he's had a long career in the NFL. Was on the injured list this year for the Baltimore Ravens, but a really, really good player, and he reminds me just Jonathan Maldonado of Tavius Robinson. William Eccles and Cam Franklin are as good, if not better than advertised at this point. You know what you've got in them. You just want to see a little bit more from like Micah Borio, who you want 15 pounds off of. You got to lose some weight. I was wanting to hear more from Anthony Maddox. B's a good round grade for it, meaning that good enough. It's the spring. You don't read too much into it, but with a tweak here and there, they could really push it into A- territory pretty quick.
I want the linebackers, Ben, and I'm going to give them.
You got them. It's up to you now.
Yeah, I'm giving them an A because I think it's going to be the best group on defense. And I know I'm putting them against Cam Franklin and Will Eccles, but when you look at that defense, Keaton Thomas along with Luke Farrelly, I think they're going to be 2. I agree with that, Dakota. We'll reach out to some folks and see if we can get some tickets to raffle off. That's a great idea. I think Taj Butler is a tackle machine along with Jacoby Hobson. I think they're going to be great backups. And I really think that the linebacker room is going to be one of the better rooms that Ole Miss has had in quite some time. So I'm giving them an A.
Wow, man, you're just feeling generous tonight. I think it's because, that you sound like an NPR host, so you want to put everybody at ease and soothe them. So you're talking like this. And then you're saying, hey, everyone, let me just let you know. For every Ole Miss position.
I'm not leaving.
What's that?
I'm not leaving.
I'm leaving. I love how he won't even
This is just
edit.
like the microphone that he had in Wolf of Wall Street.
And it's not helping you sound louder at all.
God. We're going to get it fixed.
Oh, so the defensive backs, I'm going to give them a B. I'm a hard grader with this stuff, man, because here's the deal. I want to see a little bit more from Jay Crawford. I think they're going to be fine with Antonio Kite and Jay Crawford, but Jalen Braxton, again, back being hurt, banged up. Edwin Joseph, we found out from Pete Golding the other day, arrived just like Jordan Renaud with a pre-existing injury. They knew that he wasn't going to practice all spring, but we didn't find that out till now. So you want to see what he does, like what he looks like if he's back healthy. Sharif Denson had a great spring. I think Jonell Aguero had a good spring as well at free safety. But there are some question marks, man. But the freshmen, the newcomers, or the second-year guys, the underclassmen, I should say, they're the ones that give me the most kind of encouragement, excitement about this group. Dorian Barney, Ladarian Clardy, Dante Core. Cedric Beavers, a senior. I think Cedric Beavers is ready to play some ball. That's one of my binge sleepers for 2026. Cedric Beavers. And what could a sleeper be? Well, it could be a number of things. It can be a number of things. But for me, it's a guy that you've been waiting on. He's a former 4-star recruit. You know, the stuff that we used to judge this stuff by.
Yeah.
He hadn't done it yet. One of the fastest players on the team. But now, 3 years into the systems, I could see this being the year where Cedric Beavers takes all of it and puts it all together and goes on and has a really, really strong, not only season this year, but career potentially in the NFL. Reminds me a lot of not Xavier Harris. What was his name? Cedric Woods. Remember Cedric Woods?
Yeah.
Cedric Woods ran like a 4.2 something or other at the NFL draft combine. You know, I just think Cedric Beavers is, and it could be a move piece, both as a corner and as a nickel or safety.
No doubt. And remember Squirrel Clardy.
Yep.
He's one that everybody's excited about. Ben, as we get ready to wrap, appreciate everybody. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And thanks for following at the Talk of Champions. Be sure and hit the QR code right there and join us at the Ole Miss Spirit. That's OMSpirit.com. It's all Ole Miss all the time. That's all we do is talk Ole Miss sports on the Ole Miss Spirit. And we appreciate all of you for jumping on. And maybe the Rebels can come back down 4-0. But we'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Talk of Champions, Ben.
See you, buddy. Get to running.